Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. And welcome to our buy, sell, and hold series here on the YouTube channel. Today, my podcast co host and I, Jason DiRienzo, we are going to take a look at BARION Brown, wide receiver from Kentucky. He will be a true junior, eligible for the 2025 draft next year. If you've got him in Devy or your C2C leagues, exciting prospect heading into next year. If you play Dynasty and Fantasy, he will be most likely a rookie that you're going to be drafting in the first 2 rounds of your rookie drafts next year. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Jason and I, we watch film. We are film grinders, and we watch the all-22 film on the Florida and Clemson games of the 2023 season. Unfortunately, I can't post the film breakdowns that we reviewed play-by-play on this YouTube channel. You cannot post all 22 films on YouTube. At least I can't. They tried to shut my channel down here. But if you want access to this and many other film breakdowns, hit me up on the email below for a 2-week trial on my Devy dashboard. I have the film that we broke down, posted in my Notion dashboard, the all 22 film, if you want to get a good look, a good scouting look at BARION Brown. So hang on, man. Let's get to the show. It's fun. We're going to break down his stats from 2023. We're going to talk about his draft capital. And like I said, if you are a Devy or C2C player and you've got this kid on your taxi squad already waiting for him to be drafted next year, what's he look like? Is he a buy, sell, or a hold going into the 2024 season? You're going to have to watch to find out. All right, Jason, are you ready for our BARION Brown buy, sell, or hold?
Oh, more than ready. Let's do this one.
All right, let's go. So let's go through to start off the show. All right, you guys know the routine. We did this last week. We're going to kind of give you an overview, and then we're going to go over the scouting report. We're going to go over his NFL draft prospects as far as draft capital, and we're going to do some tape grades. So if you've got him on your Devy roster sitting there, I'm sure you're anxious to hear what we have to say about Mr. Brown. But listen, he's had a really good couple seasons at Kentucky, productive, great special team guy. And through 2 seasons, he's had 85 receptions for 1,000 yards. He's had 7 TDs. He's got some really good inside-outside versatility. Played in the slot 70 or out wide 70%. And we just watched his all 22 film, like I'd mentioned previously, of the Florida and Clemson game. So again, if you are interested in, seeing those films, hit me up via email, guys, or find me on X, and I'd be more than happy to, give you some details on how you can access that stuff. So, all right, the scouting report. Jason, tell me what you saw overall when we watched the Florida Clemson. We watched a few other games as well. What is your, before we get toward tape grades and thinking of BARION Brown? He's 6'1", 166 pounds. He's going to be a true junior next year. He is NFL draft eligible, could be a dynasty asset. What did we see on his scouting report?
I mean, he's got a very explosive first step right off the line of scrimmage. So that's already going to be a problem for soft coverage. He eats into the cushion very quickly. He's got a nice single move that he executes along with a speed move. So he understands how to get around the defender. And I love that he actually will use his eyes to manipulate as well. He'll keep his head looking downfield like he's going to sell the vertical route. And then I really like the fact that he knows exactly how to break in or out in order to manipulate and create separation. The idea of using him and his versatility is going to be huge at the NFL level because you do see the versatility. Like you said, he's used in the slot, used on the outside, and then in some of the game film, we even saw him used on end arounds and as a runner. And you definitely want to make sure you get him in space as a runner, and the blockers are being set up because as he shows competitiveness, but I think his mind of competitiveness is a little bit more than the 166 pounds of functional strength that he has. So he's going to battle a little bit of that at the next level. But within the route running, I think I want to see a little bit more from his route running. And what I mean by that is we only saw a limited route tree from him. He's got that deep elite speed. Like you can definitely tell that if he gets an edge on a defender, he can stack them and he can definitely get downfield pretty quickly. Areas that we're going to talk about for him to improve, I think we saw a couple drops and then some ball security issues as well. I think he just needs to learn a little bit more of the nuance of the position, the way he's used at Kentucky. It's kind of hard for him to nail down one thing. So some of his development might actually take place once he gets on an NFL team.
Yeah, I like what you said there about nuance because I think, with his route running, that's kind of what we saw. He's got to be able to create space at that size. He will need to be able to
Yeah.
create space to have the
Yeah.
DBs not get their hands on him to, redirect him, off his routes. But I mean, it was pretty visible on the field, his acceleration, his speed. I think he's going to be a true vertical threat. I love his inside outside versatility. Like you said, he got the ball on sweeps, and they just wanted to get the ball in his hands, get him in space. It's kind of what the NFL's looking for with players right
Yep.
now. You know what I mean? Especially that
Yep.
inside outside versatility is nice, and he's a special teamer too. I mean, he's going to be a punt returner. He is just electric with the ball in his hands. Go back and watch any 2 years of Barion Brown. Go on YouTube, and I'm sure you can find some clips. I think I got some on this YouTube channel as well, of him just taking balls to the house on that Florida and Clemson game. I think on one of those games it showed it didn't. I couldn't see it, but he ran a punt back or a kickoff. So I mean, he's just got that explosiveness that the NFL I think is going to like. But like you said, I mean, his acceleration and speed is great. But his hands, we saw probably 5 or 6 drops. So we were a little concerned
Yeah.
about the strength of his hands. Had kind of a fumble on an end around. A guy popped off. You said he had 3 fumbles last year alone.
He
So
had 3 fumbles. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that's a little bit of concern. You got to be able to hold on to the ball. So, but he's an intriguing player, man. As a Devy asset, a C2C asset, again, of the format that we love to play. I mean, he's on your roster. I mean, he was a high recruit. You drafted him high. He's on your roster. All right. So let's get to the tape grades. All right. Before we get to I know what everyone wants to know. Is he a buy for us? Is he a sell, or is he a hold? You'll have to wait a few more minutes to get the details on what we think. But in any case, let's get to his tape grades. All right. For receivers, release, and route running, these grades are 1 out of 5. I gave him a 2.5 out
Look
of
at you
5.
with the point fives.
I
Okay.
went with the 0.5s. It was I mean, the last show, it was just all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to get a little bit more direct. And the reason I have a 2.5 is, I love defensive manipulation, right? And
Mhm.
in those 2 games that we watched, we saw little flashes of it. I just, I'm just all about space creation. And and to be a good space creator at the next level, you have to be a defensive a manipulator of that DB. And I just felt like he was growing through the motions, but he just wasn't that tactical route runner. But he's got 1 year of development left, right? But this is what we see in his 2023 film. So I gave him a 2.5 for release and route running. What'd you give him?
I give him a 3, and I kinda like that terminology, tactical route runner. That's really good because honestly, that's exactly what I wanted more from him. I wanted to see him being more tactical and nuanced and just complete within his route
Mhm.
running, and that's not what I got to see. So I think he's just average right now, and I wanna see him become a little, above average this upcoming season.
All right, ball skills and hands. I gave him a 3, which might be generous given the film that we watched.
Yeah.
There was a couple plays on the film, right? That the DB was just hitting him as he was getting the ball. He came down with one of them, but 2 of them he didn't come down. So if he isn't able to create that space, and he does have a DB, he's got to be physical enough with those ball skills and those strong hands to snatch that. I don't know how big his hands are, but given the film, I think that's probably going to be an improvement that you and I will be looking for as a true junior, is him increasing his ability to catch that football.
That drop in wide open in the end zone where he had to track the ball a little bit, but I mean, it was in his hands. That bothers me a lot because that's a touchdown that's not on the board. So I gave him a 3. I probably should give him a 2, but I saw him make some good plays at the same time. So I don't want to take away from what he does well just because of a couple of drops. I'm not sure if the NFL actually worries about drops as much, but
Mhm.
drops in situations like he had are a problem.
Yeah, and it could be down to hand technique. He did have a couple body catches too. So I mean, he's got to be able to
Mhm.
extend. You got to be able to pluck the ball
Right.
out of the air, man. That's just the name of the game. Acceleration and speed. I gave him a 5. I mean, he's going to be one of the fastest players probably at the combine next year. I think he's a like a 4.29, 4.3 guy. I think. I mean, but it showed on the film, man. This guy is a blazer with the ball in his hands in open space.
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. I give him a 5 as well, and it's everything you just said.
Yards after the catch. I think he has some ability in yards after the catch. I really do. I think he's. in those films that we watched, I mean, you saw him make guys miss. He caught the ball, he turned up field, jab step, made a guy miss. And then, me, love to see the finish, but that'll be the next trait. But I gave him 3.5 yards after the catch. I think he's got some good vision in the second level. And I think with the ball in his hands, he can really, between that speed and his vision, and his ability to change directions when he wants to, I think he could be a real asset in the yards after the catch department.
Yeah, the only reason I gave him a 3, I probably would have bumped him up to a 4 even because he can be an explosive playmaker after the catch. I just
Mhm.
think his size and limitation within the weight is gonna be a problem. I think he might get wrap up tackled pretty easy at the next level if he doesn't gain some more mass.
Yeah, so physicality and athleticism, I gave him a 3. I like seeing what I saw at the end of plays right now. He lacks physicality, I think, at the catch point, but you can tell he's a tough cookie, not afraid of contact. And at that size, I mean, to be that bold in some of those, down the field, he was running with the football, not afraid. He doesn't look like he's afraid of contact. And I can tell pretty easily doing this a long time if someone likes contact or they don't like contact. I don't think he minds it. I think he fights for every yard. The athleticism, I don't think we can really question. I think he's definitely an athletic guy, given his size and speed and change of direction ability when he wants to. But I gave him a 3 out of 5 for that.
Yeah, as far as athleticism, I mean, I think he's like a 5. I mean, the lateral
Mhm.
agility, making people miss, I think is pretty impressive. Physicality, I'd probably be more so like a 3, and it's not so much. Maybe it's more mental toughness because I think some of those drops came from the mental state rather than the physicality of being hit from behind. He wants to hold on
Mhm.
to the ball, but mentally, is he mentally tough to get back up and do it again? And we saw him drop the ball in the same game more than once. So that's a problem for me.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about draft capital. All right. So, what are you thinking? I think he's a day 2 guy right now. I mean, if
Uh,
given what we've
yeah, I
seen,
think
if
they
we
do.
don't see the
Yep.
improvement, you think even a day 2, the NFL is going to get sucked into that speed, right? Even at the size. I mean, we saw we talked about it before. He's going to get comped to Xavier Worthy because of the size and speed, and I think
Yeah,
that's the way it's going to be
that's a
because
mistake.
it's a mistake because the route running is, and you and I are on the same page, are two completely different people out there watching the film. I mean, Worthy could stop on a dime, change direction, and put a DB in a blender, and I don't see that same skill. But I still think he's going to be potentially a day 2 guy. I could see a round 3. I don't think he's a round 2 guy right now, but if he improves this year as a junior, I think he could potentially be a round 2. But I still think he might just be a round 3 kind of player.
Yeah, right now I agree with you. I think he's a round 3 player, but I think ultimately he'll probably be a early to mid day 2 or round 2 just because he has elements of his game that you just can't coach. And a team's gonna be like, we can use him this way, we can use him this way. Like he's got so many versions of what you can do with Barry and Brown. I think it's gonna be too hard to pass up.
So I guess from the buy, sell, and hold, I mean, sounds like he might be a buy for you.
Actually, I think he's more of a hold for me because this is the type of guy where I'm going to hold probably all the way up through the NFL draft process because I have a feeling like the combine is going to elevate his stock
Mhm.
dramatically. And that's probably when I'll be selling.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold too. I was baiting you to see if you would do a buy, but I had a feeling you were
Not going to
holding
happen, man.
because we didn't share our buy, sell, and holds
We didn't know.
before
And
the recording
I
here.
kind of like the
So
fact that we did not write it down. We should
exactly.
probably start doing that.
Yeah, well, we did, and we decided we were going to do that moving forward, right? I mean,
Right.
because
Yep.
yeah, I think he's a hold too. I think if you got an offer for him and for here's put it to you this way. If there's a player out there that you want and somebody said in return, I really want Barry and Brown if you want X and you feel that they're a similar value, I think I would sell him. He is a small, thin guy, but I'm going to hold too because I think the upside is there for him to potentially, if he can improve those hands, and the NFL just loves speed, twitchy guys. And if he can improve his route running and hands, I think he could solidly be a day 2 draft capital. So I am also a hold. Sometime at some point, we have to. I can't wait for the first show where I'm a buy and you're a sell, and then
You
we can
will. We
we can
have to. There's
we can
no freaking way we go through this
we
and
can
we
we can
keep
we
saying
can
the same
duke it
thing.
out exactly. So, all
Yeah,
right, there, you
we'll
guys
battle
got
it.
it. There is our thoughts on Barry and Brown as a 2025 rookie and Devy asset for you.